The Reggae Boys lost the Unity Cup final against Nigeria. However, there were many positives from that game.
Jamaica have a lifeline. How about this?
They got Gunnaz podcast.
If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Gunnaz podcast. I'm your host, Dicanio, an Arsenal fan that covers everything Reggae Boys and local football. If you enjoy the content that I do on this channel, go ahead and hit that like button. Every single video I do on this channel must get to 150 likes. And also, if you want to support the channel, if you want to become a part of this Gunnaz community, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. People, liking and subscribing the video is a free way to support the cause. So if you love the content, you watch the videos regularly, just hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Now, in this video, I'll be talking about the game between the Reggae Boys and the Super Eagles in the Unity Cup final. Now, the game was a pretty exciting one. I have to say, in Nigeria, we're the more comfortable team in possession. However, Jamaica was a bit more transitional. It was a game of cat and mouse. It's like a lower tier version of a Manchester City versus Liverpool back in the day, right? So yeah, both teams were good. I don't think there was a more dominant team per se. I think we both teams created goal scoring opportunities. However, I do think Jamaica created better opportunities. And yeah, it just showed the togetherness of the team. It showed that the team is really becoming serious. There are a whole lot of youngsters that came in and wanted to prove themselves, and not only prove themselves, but wanted to fight for a jersey in the upcoming World Cup qualifiers and the Gold Cup campaign, right? Now, I want to start off about talking about the back line, because Jamaica did go a goal down, and then we equalized, and then we also went 2 goals down again, right? So I think the back line needs some addressing, and we will get that once Ethan Pinnock is here. He's a strong leader in the team. And Damian Lowe will be back as well. I know a lot of you guys don't rate Damian Lowe like myself, but I think it's time for us to accept that Ethan Pinnock and Damian Lowe are the top 2 centre-backs. And if you take out the top 2 centre-backs out of any team and ask their backup centre-backs to play, you are going to have that sort of drop-off and less dominance. However, apart from the 2 goals, I think the back line held up well. So yeah, I'm not too fretting much about the back line. However, Shaquan Davis, I think Shaquan Davis is the only negative out of this entire tournament from the Reggae Boys. Apart from the fact that we lost on penalties, but a real serious deep thought negative was Shaquan Davis. Performances in both games were poor. When he had the ball at his feet, I was fretting. His handling was not very good, very crap. I don't feel comfortable with him in the goal, so I won't stress it too much. He had his chance for both games. I don't want to see him again. I don't even think he should be our third choice goalkeeper anymore going forward. Give somebody else another chance in that third choice slot. I think it's just done for Shaquan Davis. Mount Pleasant coaches have seen it. They benched him in what was the most important period of their season. They benched Shaquan Davis, and they went for the goalkeeper that has been their second string goalkeeper throughout. So that alone goes to show you what the growing narrative with Shaquan Davis is. I don't want to see him in the national team, especially if Mount Pleasant do not want to see him in their team. Now, moving forward to more positive things, the forward line was brilliant. Cephas yet again involved in the 2 goals, meaning that he was directly, well, not directly, but he was involved in every single goal Jamaica scored in this Unity Cup. And that is a whole lot of influence. That is a whole lot of dominance. A lot of people are calling him the player of the tournament, right? So Ronaldo Cephas was very dangerous. Won 2 penalties in the last game. Was involved in the build-up for Romar and Burrell's goal in the first game as well. And he had 2 assists in this game. Lone pace, power, and delivery. He's not the finished article, and I don't think he will ever really be the finished article. However, he is definitely what Jamaica needs in this moment in time. And he just should be starting matches. It is not even a question going forward. he should be starting matches. And we will talk about that later on in the video as to who he will start over. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, also, big up to Kyle Dixon as well for his goal. The forward line was overall pretty good. Now, when it comes on to our midfield now, I think we have finally found that midfield core, folks. Core midfield that we've been asking for. I think going forward, the midfield is going to be the main strength of the Reggae Boyz, a position that was once our main weakness. We're looking at a midfield of Isaac Hayden as a 6 with McCullough as a backup, right? We're looking at a left side 8 of Casey Palmer and Ravel Morrison. We're looking at a right side 8 of potentially Lewis Baker and Jonathan Russell. That is a solid core of 6 midfielders, folks, right? A solid core of 6 midfielders, interchangeable, perfectly set for formation, which is no 4-3-3 going forward, right? I think that gets the best out of our players. I think it gets the best out of our team and how we look to play. Isaac Hayden has that midfield area with the back line for himself. I don't think he plays well in a double pivot. I don't think the rest of our midfielders want to be that deep. They want to be higher. So I think it just complements how our midfielders want to play. And having both a Sule McCullough and the Isaac Hayden, right? Where, you know, both of those guys can play the 6 and are comfortable in that role. And then having a wide variety of 8s like the 4 that I mentioned, Lewis Baker, Jonathan Russell, Casey Palmer, and Ravel Morrison at your disposal, right? Any of them can play at any given time. That is what we have been asking for. In the past 2 or 3 years, we haven't known what our best midfield is. And no, we might not know what our best midfield is, but we definitely do know that we have a core of players going forward that we're going to be working with, right? And the only way that core is going to be disrupted is if a player gets injured, if a player falls off form tremendously, and a player like Caroline Anderson has to come in to replace him. But for now, going forward, that is the midfield 6, the core midfield that I want to see, and I think is our best midfield, right? Now, in the post-match press conference, Steve McClaren spoke about the experience, about being in England and how good it was for the team. The fans, I have to say again, were absolutely tremendous. You look at the photos, you look at the colors, the support. Again, local fans, we need to step up our game because the support that the team got really, really pushed them over the line. That is what you call true support, right? Steve McClaren also talked about the camaraderie, right? And how the new players that came in, like the Mothershill, the Burrell, gelled in quickly because the team was so receptive. They welcomed them with open arms, right? He also made mention of the fact that he was very pleased with a few players like Busy Atkins. I'm not sure. He said in training, though. So he didn't say in the specific game, but he said in training he was very, very impressed with Busy Atkinson and also with Burrell. He was also asked by a journalist in the post-match press conference as to no, he has a real selection headache for the squad that Simon Preston mentioned is going to be dropping on Tuesday, right? So that selection headache, he was asked about that specifically for Cephas and the new players that came in. And he said that he has to select from the new players. They played that well. They showed that much grit that they have given him a decision to make. And he said that a few of them will be in that squad. And I think that is very good. I think that is a way to go forward. I don't think Damari Gray and Leon Bailey starting, both of them on the pitch, would be good for Jamaica. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it would be fair for the players that are actually on the bench that play better for Jamaica when they have the chance. I don't think it would be best for the country and for the team having both of them on the pitch anymore. Those days are over. Cephas has came in, he stamped his claim, and Cephas has to play. Now, I think one of them have to bench because I do not want to mess with that midfield core. Personally, I do not want to mess with that midfield core. I know Bobby Reid plays in the midfield for us sometimes, but that is not his position. Bobby Reid is a forward. So find a forward position. If you need to play right wing, if you need to become a squad player now and sit back and go challenge Bailey on the right side, then do that. Right? But we don't want our fear say, all right, all of the players them have to play. So make we switch up the formation, go switch up the system that is working to try put a man here. So right? Let's put Damar Green at the number 10 so he can play. I will play safe as wide and be no, I don't want to see that. The midfield three is working, it is good, it is cohesive, it has a very good balance, and midfields are the make or break in a campaign. I do not want Jamaica to pick up this campaign because we are trying to facilitate players that he don't even perform for us. Now, Damari Gray has some credit in the bank. So if he or Leon Bailey is to drop, I would say Damari Gray is to start and Cephas as well as the wingers. And whichever striker, whether it's Burrell, Mothersill, or Warner Brown that he wants to start up top, it no matter to me. Right? However, I don't want us to be starting both Damari Gray and Leon Bailey on both wings. Those days are over. They've had their chance. They have been very depressing to watch. Those days are over. I love the youthful exuberance that Steve McClaren chose to work with in this tournament, and I want to see more of that going forward, right? And again, I'm not saying that Leon Bailey shouldn't be selected for the team, but I just don't want. I don't think he deserves a starting spot. He hasn't played anything this season for Aston Villa. When he's played for Jamaica, he has not been playing anything either. So what will try to justify why he should start in the team? I don't think anyone can objectively tell me or give me a good reason why he deserves to be in this team over Cephas, right? So yeah, folks, it was just a very good tournament, and I'm very, very happy. I don't think we could have used this tournament any better than how we did it. We gave local players a whole lot of opportunities. Steve McClaren also made mention of that in his post-match press conference as well. And I think Steve, if he does the right thing that I just mentioned, by keeping that midfield core and not messing up the system that we have built and that looks so good, right, in those two games that we played. One against a lesser opponent, but one against a super good team in Nigeria, right? So if a lot of us were saying, hey, can we really judge it against Trinidad? But we saw it against Nigeria. Quality teams, quality team with players that are playing in top leagues, right? They were a wonderful team. They played well. They gave us a very good run, right? So to see that midfield held up against a Nigeria team, that should give us confidence going into qualifiers to know that, hey, let's get our two centre backs in Ethan Pinnock and Low. Let's keep this midfield core together with everyone knowing their roles, everyone knowing what position they're fighting for, right? So as we know, Hayden has the shirt, Casey Palmer has the shirt, John Russell has the shirt, right? Ravel is fighting for Casey's shirt. If Louis Baker comes in, he will be fighting for John Russell's shirt. And Sule Makala is there as backup for Hayden. I don't think he's fighting for a shirt, but he's there as backup in case anything happens to Hayden, right? The fact that I just want everyone to understand their role in the team, and I think that is the best thing that happened in this tournament. Now, when Steve McClaren decides that he's going to try to fit in, because he did mention that he tried to do it in the past in the post-match press conference, right? By playing one of them in the 10. I think that is going to tremendously hurt this team and hurt the trajectory and where we are going, right? So I really, really do hope that he decides to bench one of them, right? And if he doesn't decide to bench one of them and to bench Cephas, I'm not going to curse it. But going forward, he will realize that it doesn't work. And I think this is the last chance if he decides to play both Gray and Bailey. And if they do not perform, I think the following game, one of them are going to be benched, right? So yeah, folks, that is it for this video and my review. It was a very, very positive review. I have nothing but good things to say about the tournament. The squad for the World Cup qualifiers will be announced on Tuesday. Simon Preston confirmed that. And yeah, folks, I just want to leave this video by saying, believe in Steve.
Jamaica have a lifeline. How about this?
They got Gunnaz podcast.